Evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Assistant Desk Podcast. Season 2 well underway. We got a great guest this evening for you guys, and really excited to talk to them. And I think I can speak for both of us when I say it's a pretty big one. It's a pretty important one. We're a
Oh,
little
yeah.
nervous for this.
Oh, yeah.
But make sure, as I say every week, you guys are liking, following, reposting, all of that kind of stuff helps the podcast grow, helps us reach new people to speak to, right? Whether it's in lacrosse, which is our primary sport, but any other sports that we kind of want to dive into, the basketballs of the world, soccer's and things like that, helps us grow our brand and get in front of as many people as we can. So we appreciate all the loyalty. We appreciate the feedback.
Yep.
We appreciate everybody that's come on so far and all the listeners. But yeah, next episode, we're here.
All right. Here we are. Tonight we have a big one, like Chris said. We have a mentor to both of us, someone we've leaned on a lot in our lives for sure. And yeah, we're excited to have Coach Tim Boyle, head coach of Wingate University, men's lacrosse. Coach, how we doing?
My two favorite brothers. How we doing today?
What's going
Better
on?
now. We're
It's
better
just-
now.
Better
It's
now.
great to see you guys. I miss you guys, but at least I get to see it through this tiny screen.
Miss you too. Miss
We
you
miss
too.
you too, man.
This is awesome. We were excited when we did the head coach segment. We're like, all right, we know where we're going to.
Right.
Let's get the boss on. Let's
It's
see what we got.
intimidating.
Very intimidating to be on this side.
Because we're kind of in the seat of power for once.
Yeah, the table has turned a little bit.
It really has. I mean, I'm at your mercy right now.
Right.
We hold the cards.
We hold the cards. Right.
You do.
We can see how many pull-ups and sprints you can do. No, but Coach, honestly, I think like I said a bit ago, can speak for the both of us when I say that, we wouldn't be where we are without your mentorship and guidance and taking a chance on a couple knuckleheads from Massachusetts. So we appreciate you getting on, and we're excited for this conversation, and want to give you the floor for a minute, right? I'm sure the non-Dowling and non-Wingate people on here, they want to know, who is Tim Boyle? Where you're from? How'd you get to where you're at?
Well, I mean, how could I not take a chance on two guys from Peabody, for crying out loud? and I appreciate the kind words, but I knew right when you guys got to campus that good things would be happening for you in your life. So although I enjoyed being a piece of it, you guys did most of the hard work, and I was just happy to be along for the ride, to be honest. But yeah, I'm just a guy from Long Island, in the middle of lacrosse country, and played Division III ball a very, very long time ago at a state school, upstate New York, at Oneonta State. Go Red Dragons! And didn't know what I was going to do with my life. Thought I was going to be corporate. Graduated, got a job in Manhattan at an insurance company. Fireman's Fund Insurance Company, to be exact, and right across the street from the World Trade Center. I was actually there for the first World Trade Center bombing, where they tried to blow it up from the bottom.
Wow.
That was a long time ago, and didn't like that. Didn't like to be on the train for 3 hours a day, and didn't see myself at a desk. So decided I was going to go back and be a teacher. Left work. Actually traveled around Europe for the summer and came back and enrolled at Dowling in graduate school, and walked into their athletic department one day and said, "Hey, you guys need a lacrosse coach?" And just happened to meet one of the players who was working as a work study. And he's like, "Actually, they're looking for an assistant coach." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Gave me the coach's name, called him up, interviewed at his local high school, got the job, and started coaching there. And as an assistant, was working odd jobs, bartending, laying tile, all that kind of stuff while
Doing
I was
the thing.
And then the head coach, Tony Chiazzo, who's a mentor to me, he asked me one day if I wanted to get a full-time job on campus. And I was at a point where I didn't have benefits or anything like that. So I'm like, "Hey, sure, that sounds like a good idea. Get benefits, So he
Turns
put
out
me,
you need that.
yeah, he got me into admissions. So I was an admissions counselor and did that while coaching. And then it was great for him because then they were able to not pay me anymore for coaching because now the university is paying me. So I
You're
just
already
worked for
there.
free. I coached for free for a while. Then I moved up to financial aid, became assistant director of financial aid, and then he decided that coaching was not for him anymore. He was a dean of students at a high school, so called me in one day, and it was funny because I was about to give up coaching too.
Wow.
At this level, I just felt like I was probably going to do something else, and he called me in to have a meeting. And before I resigned, he resigned and
Huh.
said, "We'd like you to take the program over." So that was kind of a big whoa. Okay, I'm going to need some time to think about this.
Right.
Talked to the AD, took a couple of weeks, talked it over with my wife now, who was my girlfriend at the time, and made the decision to do it. Took over the program and spent 16 years there, and great years. Loved every minute of it. Whenever a recruiter or a parent would ask me, you know, are you going to be leaving here to go somewhere else? And I would always say, I'm probably only going to leave if they make me leave. And
Mm,
and guess what they did? They made me leave.
yeah.
So as you
They made
guys
everybody
know,
They
leave.
made us
They
all.
made
They made
everybody
us all
leave.
leave.
yeah, we were one of the first. So we were one of the first ones to close our doors. So I guess
Ugh,
that's something special. I don't know. But
yeah.
strangely enough, I got the job at Wingate 3 weeks before we closed because someone had told a headhunter that I might be interested.
Right.
And so the headhunter called me and I said, yes, I'm interested, and did a Zoom interview. And then they asked me to come down like the next day, but I had to work graduation for Dowling. Went down the next Monday and fell in love with the place. They offered it to me and took it. And wife and I were real happy. I had to live in uh, kind of graduate school housing for 2 months while my wife was selling the house up here, which was really interesting.
They threw you right into the fire.
Well, I was old. I'm not as old as I am now, but I was pretty old, and the apartment next to me was filled with football GAs. And when I tell you, whenever they had a free moment, they got after it, and were up till all hours of the night. And I was kind of questioning my life's decisions at that point.
Yeah, but now looking back,
Now look at
great
it.
move.
Yeah, yeah. And then we found our house and found everything, and now I can't believe I've been here 10 years. I sometimes still feel like a visitor. Uh,
Right.
I know that everybody can tell I'm from New York still, and I know that they give me the side eye for that, but that's just part of it.
Yeah, you haven't
But
lost the accent. You don't have that quasi southern drawl yet, but you haven't lost the accent about people.
nah. Occasionally I'll say Wingate, and occasionally I'll say y'all, but not often.
The occasional y'all. I hope that comes up in
Occasionally.
the,
If I
in the
hear a
podcast.
y'all,
We got a y'all in this. That's it.
that's biblical.
But yeah, 10 years. Loved every minute of it, and have had a great time. It's a great university, great people to work for,
Right.
and the weather is outstanding. No more shoveling. You guys remember that, don't you?
Still do. What do you
Yes,
mean?
too many times.
We had the benches
Yeah, the
out this
shovel
year, pushing them. That's it.
At Dowling, we had a shovel with both of your names on it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
and a
Although
tarp.
you used to like to drive the Gator, though. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Take
tried
the
to
snow
get.
and dump it.
That's a
Like,
smart guy.
I was yeah.
He's a smart
I
guy.
was waste management.
Yeah, he was the
I was the
foreman
waste.
on the
Yeah, I was
job.
a foreman. It's fine. You don't have to out me
I'm
like
sure.
that. I still hold the power. I can end this thing real quick. But needless to say, 10 years there, a lot of success, right? I mean, one thing that I think I have to ask because I need to know, and anybody that's ever played for you at Wingate or at Dowling knows what's on the back of a workout shirt, a shooting shirt, anything, and it's HURL. And I was at an event, and one of your guys was a shooter at an event, and he definitely didn't know who the heck I was, rightfully so. And I said, HURL, you know what it stands for? And he didn't skip a beat. He spit it out real quick, and I was like, all right, you passed the test. But for those who don't know or want to hear what this is about, how did you come up with it, and how have those values for you like adapted, if they have, or have they not changed at all over the years?
Coach Taylor, my longtime assistant at Dowling, when him and I were building the program together, because the first thing I did was hire him when I got there. we were deciding the culture, and we came
Right.
up together. We came up with HURL, honesty, integrity, responsibility, loyalty, and we just felt like that was, if we want to build the program the right way, then we want to live. We'll have to live our life that way, and we're going to ask our
Right.
players to live their life that way. And if we always felt that if the players have those core values in their heart, that normally things would go well. Not saying that they would never make any mistakes, because we know they do and we know they will. But
There's a
I
few.
guess our job as coaches was to help guide the players through that 18 to 22, 23-year-old time frame, and hopefully we help them not make that really big life altering mistake that can plague kids at that age that feel invincible. So we just put that together, put it on the back of the shirts. Back in the Dowling days, we did a lot of writing the full words on the back.
Yep.
And then when we came down here, decided to turn the acronym on a little bit more, and go from there. Although they did have a shirt or two at Wingate that we did have full words on there. And like you said, the kids kind of, if you ask them right away, they usually don't skip a beat. But, at morning runs,
Right.
right near the end, I'll always pick a freshman, and the decision
Hunched
will be,
over, heavy breath,
yeah, the decision
snot's
will
coming
be,
out. Oh
you
yeah.
know, if he gets it, we're done. If he don't get it, we're going, we're
We're
going
still
more.
going.
Oh, I'm getting a little PTSD here.
Just like a little bit, not like
I'm
a lot,
like
but like a little bit.
uncomfortable for a minute when you just said that.
Yeah.
I'm
ready.
It's getting hot
ready.
here.
It's here. I'm ready to
It's
roll.
getting
I
hot.
got
here.
it. You asked me. I'm ready. I'm done running. I am done running. I am done running.
Has
Right.
has that followed you with, like, obviously, you teach these young guys that in your programs from freshman year all the way till they leave you, and you've had a great staff everywhere you've coached, like Taylor and Turner, and then even down at Wingate, Turner and Seth, and a bunch of these guys that have coached with you. Do you, when you're hiring an assistant or you're looking at a guy to fill a role, do you like come back to that as like a core checklist of like, do they embody this? Or do you have
Yes.
to really teach them that as if you're teaching an 18 to 23-year-old kid? Or is that
Well, I
just a
think
non-negotiable?
it's definitely a non-negotiable, but I think if you guys know this for a long time, I've been a big proponent of keeping things in the family. So
Right.
I've had so many former players coaching with me, so that they're already used to that, and they've already lived it, and they've been a part of it for so long. And it's funny you say that, because this particular year I hired two guys outside the family.
Mm,
And, it was a part of the interview process.
right.
It was a part of how I made my decision to offer. And, they both just got to campus recently. So we're in the middle of our introductory meetings, and, we touch on it all the time, when we're talking about different phases, when we're talking about recruiting, how we want to recruit,
Yep.
everybody wants to be the best recruiter in the nation. Actually, at our staff meeting this morning, our AD had that as a big PowerPoint presentation, that one of the big pieces of who we are, and what we want to be as an athletics department is we want the best recruiters in the nation. And they were at that meeting. It was their first staff meeting. And I said, at our meeting afterwards, I said, yes, this is what we want to be, but we're going to recruit our way. You
Right.
know what I
Right.
mean? I am
Totally.
You'll get there by doing it through this
Yeah,
path.
doing it this way, where we're completely transparent. Um,
Right.
we're not a pressure staff. We're looking for the kids that want to be here.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right.
And
The right
I think
guys.
that's gonna take a little bit for them to learn, because they're both brand new to the program, but they're both great kids. Wouldn't have hired them if I didn't think so.
Right.
But yeah, we're gonna bring them along just like we would the players. But I've been blessed in the past with great staffs, and I've always had guys that were in the family already, so that was easy to
Right.
do because they already were part of it.
Right.
Now, I'm sure, this one's going to be just a little bit different, and I'm excited for the challenge of having guys that weren't in the family, so we can teach them how to be in the family and teach them what we're all about. And, they, during the interview process, they heard all of it, and they signed on to be a part of it too. So,
Right. So there's a little bit of like, they kind of get what's ahead of them, right?
yes,
Whether it's just the words or somewhat expectations, but you really figure
Mm,
it out. You really figure out all of that once you're in the trenches with it.
absolutely.
And really in the nitty-gritty, not just in the fall or in the season, but, like, the long days in the office, getting ready for like, contacting recruits and everything that because 'cause they're an extension of you and the program and everything like that, so really getting into the weeds of that is when they will probably figure it out, and we figured it out
Well, we figured it out
after
when you're bent up, you killed over there trying to breathe after a run.
yeah,
Hey,
after
listen,
a
what
couple
are the
sprints and
words?
you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh god, I'm gonna throw up into
Somebody
this
remember the
snowbank."
words. Remember the words.
Yeah,
Uh, but again, like that's talking about new assistants into the family. I like that though, because now you're spreading it around. You know what I mean? You're
right.
letting know, and then they have to learn with the team, which is a different level of it. So kind of an interesting hiring question as you've just done it. What's a red flag that'll immediately take someone like out of consideration? Like what is it? Is it no college shirt? What's a red flag for you in an interview or something like that?
You know, I'll you know me as a coach too. I don't turn my back on kids, and
Right.
I've always been a guy who gives a kid a second chance. So I'm gonna if someone comes in and they're not dressed like maybe they should be, I'm not gonna discount them completely, from immediately off of that. I'm gonna if they get to the point where we may offer them, I may teach them. What?
Mm,
Hey,
Yeah.
right,
when you interviewed, you came pretty casual and, you know, just moving forward for your next phase, you got to reconsider that,
right.
you know, one guy did come pretty casual that I interviewed and he was a good guy and, I knew him already and it just didn't work out. And I did have that conversation with them, hey, next time, maybe
Might want
consider
yeah,
this, but for me, you know, a red flag for me is, because of the type of person I am is talking about the me a lot. I'm not a big me guy, and you know that I don't.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
I get I get queasy when people ask questions about myself. So
Uh-oh.
I really want people to talk about the we and the process and how you did it together.
right,
Not how you did it all alone. I
right.
think that's a kind of a red flag to me, um, in terms of that. Other than that, I'm gonna really give the person the opportunity to tell me who they are, and then put that all together with all the other guys and figure out like who would be the best fit. Age isn't a big deal to me in terms of assistant coaches, whether they're older or younger. How many places they've been. I guess I may have a red flag if someone's been a ton of places real quick.
Yeah,
That
Right.
may
Right.
that
Right.
right.
may catch me off guard,
A
but I
year,
don't
a
think I
year, a
would.
year.
Yeah, I don't think I would use that and say absolutely not, but that would be a something that I would like check on the resume, being like, "Whoa!" And I'd probably ask questions about that and
Yeah.
find out because there could have been simple reasons. It could have been, you know, a
Family.
family, could have been a spouse that changed jobs and,
Right. Right.
or has a
Right.
job that moves frequently, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm always been a guy who likes to give people chances, and I don't think I'll ever change that way about me. Um, and I've definitely softened up in my old age, and I'm sure you guys aren't happy about that, just like all the other guys who played for me a long time ago when I was not very soft and I was very mean. But yeah, I've definitely softened up in my old age.
No,
I
you
don't
were
believe it.
you were a big teddy bear. You were
Yeah.
just the nicest. Oh, we love you, coach. In your interview process, especially it being so fresh and new as to today or past couple weeks, whatever it may be, what's like interviewing with you? What's top 3 questions that you're asking? Are you more of a, "I wanna know about your X's and O knowledge"? Are you more of a, like, "I just gotta be able to survive with you and, like, be able to hang out with you in the office," or what? Like, what's a top 3 question for you?
So the biggest piece for me for assistant coaches is we have to work like you guys just talked about. We got to work so closely together for so many hours for so long. I have to know that this is a good person and that we can work together. The
Right.
X's and O's piece, um, yes, we do talk about it, but to be honest, when it comes to some of these other positions, like the two positions we hired, a grad assist and a second assistant, they're most likely going to be in charge of our special teams because we need them to do that. So
Right.
if you don't hire a goalie or you don't hire a faceoff guy, chances are they're going to have some knowledge, but they're not going to be an expert at it.
Right.
So we're going to help them with that and we're going to get them what they need to do. And we're going to help, we have our resources and all the things that we've learned and what we're going to teach them for the position. So we're okay with that. Eager, they got to be eager. I've got to be able to work with them. So they've got to be good people. And after that, I'm good to be able to teach them whatever they need to. And we're good to be able to find the resources for them to teach them what they need to do to help us with our system. So yeah, X's and O's is a piece, but it's not the biggest piece to me. My work, and I think it probably has to do a lot with my age, because I just want to work with good people now that I'm in,
Right.
I guess we can call it the twilight of my career. Uh, so I want to be able to come to that office every day and know that I'm going to enjoy my time when we're in
Right.
it. When we're in it and we're on the
Right.
board for 3 hours and we're doing all the practice plans and we're going over schemes, or we just got off a really bad game
Right.
and we're all frustrated, and I just know that we can all sit down and we can work together. I think that's a big piece. And I think, you won't know for sure that they're that 100% until you get to that moment of frustration. So that's,
Right.
I think, something that, they're not going to know about me until I get there, and I'm not going to know about them. But based on your interview and getting to know them, you got to use a little faith, thinking, okay, this is the guy that I can see myself spending 15 hours a day with on
Right.
Saturdays for the entire spring.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
Have you ever kind of felt like have you ever felt bad that you had to choose someone out? Like if they weren't up to par in the office or after a game or getting something done game plan wise, not like, hey, did we send this email, but like after a game or if like because I need to know you said you're getting soft in your old age. So I need to know, have you
I think obviously that's a leadership skill and a
Right.
management skill that people need to learn. And I think when I was younger, I struggled with it more. And
Okay.
as I got older, I started to get used to it, and I was okay with it. And I learned how to uh, manage my words and not get my Irish up and do it way more mature and not turn it into like someone feeling like they're being attacked. As a
Right.
younger coach, I definitely was bad at that. I did it to players and I did it to coaches. It was me trying to figure out who I am and as a coach. But now, definitely have a different mindset with that. With these new guys, it's going to be a little different because they're just coming in and we only know each other from the interview process. It
Right.
was a little easier with guys I coached because it was almost like I'm yelling at them as players again,
Yeah.
Right.
which
Well,
isn't right from my point of view. I get that, but it
But
felt
you
a
already
little.
have you have a little bit of like
It's a
rapport with
it's
them
a
and
different
Yes,
level of constructive
yes,
feedback, right?
and they
It's
understand the level of care. Like
yeah, it's not coming from an angry spot. It's coming from, hey,
like
we're in this here. Let's
I
keep
care
this thing
about this
going.
program, you care about this program. You came here, graduated, played,
Right.
and now you're giving back,
Essentially, yeah.
right, to this program in a different role, coaching role, and I need you to be
This is it.
up
This
to
is what
this
we need
level,
out of it.
right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. And I always say this, and I say this to athletes too all the time. And I say, sometimes I'm going to be able to talk to you as a man to man,
right,
friend to friend. And sometimes I have to talk to you, head coach to assistant coach. But then there's the times where I'm the voice of the program. And if I feel the program is being misused or it's not getting what it deserves, that's usually when it's the worst because I'm speaking for the program. I'm not speaking personally. I'm not speaking because I'm mad about it, but I have to speak because I'm the only voice. I'm the top voice of the program, and all coaches, head coaches are the top voice of the program. They have to speak for the program, and sometimes that's when it gets the hardest.
yeah,
Totally.
for sure.
So
That's
heavy is
heavy
the
as the crown, right?
yeah, exactly. So like being a head coach and being a head coach for so long, how do you know when you have an assistant that is ready to be a head coach? Like you've had guys leave and move on in their careers to be head coaches and then get to the next level as well. How do you know when someone's kind of like ready for that? Is there like a, I don't know, like a bell that goes off, or like they do something that you're just like, yes, I got it. You got it now. You know what I mean?
You know, the knowledge of the game is there for all of them. I think
Right.
it has to do with a lot of the maturity piece that they're going to be able to handle um, a different relationship with the guys on the team because assistant coaches tend to be a little bit more a buffer between the head coach and and the player. So they're a buffer for that.
Right.
But I think when I see them anticipating what we need next before I even ask, I'm like, okay, they're starting to get there. They're ready to go. And when I see them take you know take over a speech in the locker room when something's gone wrong and they really want to talk about it more and they're not waiting for me to do it. I can sense that too. All right, they're getting there. They're ready. Like they don't need
Right.
me to be the guy that comes in and steps in and says this, that, and the other thing. They're
They're
ready.
seeing it like you.
They're seeing it. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
seeing it like a head
Yeah.
coach.
But once they anticipate me and I'm quirky and game day, I'm a weird guy to be around on game day.
Do you
Um,
still run in the morning?
I always have to work out before a game because if I don't get the demons out, that bad things are going to happen.
I remember one day I tried to beat you, and I don't know how you knew or if you even knew, but like I remember being in a hotel. I was like, I'm gonna go down to the gym, and I remember walking, and I remember seeing you come. Either you did a lap, you were doing a lap around the hotel or something, somewhere. I forget. It's been a long time for myself as well, but I remember you beat me, and I was like, damn, I thought I was up early enough to get a quick like sweat in, and evidently I was not up early enough.
I never tried that. Surprisingly enough, I know that's a
No,
shocker to
but
everybody here.
yeah,
I never tried that.
yeah. Uh, that is a shocker, George. Come on.
I mean, come on, that's all right. We're
I
worried
do
about.
believe that once they're anticipating, what needs to get done. I think that, and they're also um, staying true to the program and staying true to the coach. I mean, those are big pieces of great assistant coaches that
Right,
are going to go on to be great head coaches. Hopefully they have the. Um, for me, a great assistant has the program's best interest at heart all the time.
right, right. Program first.
Program first.
Program first, guys first, care
Yep.
about that kind of stuff, and then, you know, you learn the rest, and the rest takes care of itself, right?
Sure. Sure.
Have you ever in your coaching career, have you ever gone back to though you were an assistant at Dowling briefly, right? Have you ever gone back to like what a coach told you or something years ago that you're like, wow, this still rings true today as a head coach and that I'm gonna pass down to an assistant? Is there any like not just an advice for an assistant, but like something that helped you become the head coach that you are?
Well, so me being my path was unique because I only coached at one school
Right.
as an assistant and then the head and then moved to one other school. So I was only under one college head coach as a coach, and I was under one college head coach as a player. So from my playing days, I learned, and you'll be happy to know this, I learned my conditioning techniques from that fine gentleman, Corky Lynch from
Thank
Oneonta.
him for us. Tell him thank you.
Yes. In typical state school fashion, they hired him to be a swimming and diving coach and a soccer coach, but they also said, well, you're going to have to coach the men's lacrosse team, even though he never played. But he's like a young man at the time, and he's like, sure, I'll do this. And then when I got there, he had already been in the program for probably 7 years or so. And so we were more player led than anything. So he kept us organized with our conditioning and that kind of thing. So I learned that from him. And, conditioning was such a big piece of it to him. So that always was a piece for me. And then, the core values that I brought up from Dowling, we came up with them ourselves, but the whole process of making sure you're building the culture and having core values and making them important came from Tony Chiazza because that's the way he did it. He just used different terms and used different things. Um,
Right.
he did the face-off dinner before we did the face-off dinner at Dowling. I mean,
Right.
all those kinds of
You
things.
guys still do it?
Unfortunately, no, because we just can't get the kids are from so far away,
So many different
Right.
places.
so far
That's
away.
what happens when you're good. You get a lot of national talent, coach.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It was great at Dowling because not only did we have some kids from far away like you guys, but we also had a really core group of parents and kids that
Right.
were from 15 minutes away, so they could really control a lot of things.
Our
You know?
our parents still talk about it, and we joke about it, and I know I bring it up. I mean, I'm sure the guys at Merrimack are sick of hearing about Dowling. But I say, like, we should do this. We should, and they say this. It's the same thing. There's so many people coming from, Texas or wherever. But that's such a great thing because, which, if I may, leads me into my next question of like, we talked about HURL and we talked about a little bit about the culture, right? But like, how do you teach the culture now to someone that's outside the family? I know we touched on a little bit, but like, are you doing more one-on-one in the office, or are you just like, hey, see how we are on the field and learn the culture of the guys and with the parent group and the alumni and all this kind of stuff? Or are you actively trying to put these assistants in front of alums, in front of the guys more to get that kind of feeling from them?
Yeah, I mean, when all that starts, we'll definitely do that, and we'll be introducing them to all the families and the alums, and they'll get that part of it. But before that, they're gonna the new assistants are gonna go through the presentation I give the team every year before they get here. So they're gonna see each slide about all the things that we talk about,
Right.
and I'm gonna go through it with them. And I did it. I didn't do the presentation with them on their interview, but talked about a good number of the things that who we are. But
Right.
now that they're here, yeah, they're gonna go through that presentation with myself and and Coach Moore, my assistant now for a few years, so they understand it. And if kids have questions, new kids have questions about it, they'll know how to at least initially answer it. And then as they get involved, they'll start to learn it and grow in it and become part of it more.
Right.
That's going to evolve over a little time, but we're definitely going to give them hey, this is on paper. This is who we are and this is our expectation. And, you know, as you have, everybody has that first meeting presentation is long.
That
I mean, it's
blueprint.
got to have every rule that you have: locker room rules, on-field rules, hotel rules, bus rules, cafeteria rules, community rules, um, all that stuff. Our stance on hazing, our stance on improper language, all that kind of stuff has to come
Right.
out in that meeting. So, you know, they'll know that before the guys even before
Know
they sit
them.
through it. They'll sit through it 2 times. They'll sit through it with us, and then they'll sit through it with the team. So
Got to get
just to
everybody
get
on the
them there,
same page.
and then every day we're gonna preach to it more. And they're young guys who want to go into coaching, so they're eager to learn. I mean,
That's
that's
great.
another
That's half
sign.
the battle.
Another sign, and as a good assistant is eager,
Yeah.
flexible, eager, and adaptable. Those are 3 big words for me when I talk about assistants. That's who you have to be.
Well,
So, when adversity hits, what do you? And this might be new this year, right? Because you have a couple new coaches on staff. But when adversity hits in a game, on field stuff, like what are you expecting out of your staff? To act. We know we've seen it. We've been part of it live when adversity hits on the field. We know what the head coach is going to do. But what are you expecting out of the guys behind you or next to you, rather?
Uh, we always, I mean, all coaches, we don't want it to spill to the players. So we have to make sure that we can keep it together. The worse we act and the more frustrated we act, the more frustrated the players will act, and probably the worse it'll go. So the calmer we can be and the more together we can stand and not divide at all, that will be better off in the long run for the players. If we can,
Yeah.
if we can stand there through uh, well, I mean, it happened to us in the NCAAs against Anderson. We were up 8-3, and we blinked, and it went to 9-8 right before
right.
half. And we didn't go crazy, and then we went into the locker room because we halftime couldn't have come in a better time. And
Right.
we went to the
Right.
locker room and we all thought, all right, we're good. We're relaxed. We're good. We didn't go crazy in the locker room, but it just turned out to not be our day. And we came back out at halftime and they stuck 5 more on us. So, but we didn't lose our cool. And that's
Right.
the biggest thing I think is how can we get them back knowing that they're capable of doing what we asked them to do because we know they're capable of it. We've seen it every day. So, and I'm not naive to think that we're going to have struggles with that this year because we've got a young staff,
Right.
Right.
but
Right.
we're going to, and when it goes wrong after the game, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about it. Hey, at this point in the game, this happened. And, we got to remember that we can't, and I'm going to have to catch myself too. Cause there are times when I have to catch myself. Mine usually revolves around the officials and I got to remember that I got to, lay off.
Still?
Calm's contagious, right? Like calm's contagious, right? That's kind of what
Very
I always
contagious.
think about. Like, am I right?
Very
Yeah.
contagious.
Don't matter.
I
Just
try
take
to
it
keep
easy. Deep breath.
I
here.
try to keep everything in my head, and I tell everybody, you don't want to know my thoughts. Like, you don't want to hear my thoughts. And,
So
so
you talked about it a little bit before we got on, but like, what does a great staff meeting look like at Wingate?
obviously, first and foremost, structured and organized, and we're getting through the different pieces of it in a timely manner. We're also laughing a little bit, enjoying ourselves, taking a break here and there to laugh at something or talk to somebody who steps in, maybe the trainer comes up to have a word with us or the strength coach steps in. We don't want it to be just everybody rigid sitting there like,
Right.
Yeah.
just have to take their notes and all that kind of stuff. My office is pretty laid back the way it's set up. And you know, we'll meet about practice plan. That's usually a meeting that we try to do early in the week to try and decide what things we want to put in for this week. And then obviously when we're doing scout meetings, um, making sure that we're touching all bases for what we want in the scout and based on the film we've watched and all that kind of stuff. But I also want to make sure that the drills that we're running. I think we got caught up in uh, drilling to the answer and not drilling to the question a little bit these last couple of years. And drills looked really good. When we
Right.
manufactured a 32, man, that looked great.
Right. Right.
So a big challenge for us this year is how do we drill to the question and how do we practice to the question? How do we make them read and react better and figure out the 32 when we
Right.
don't put it right in front of them, when it's not so easy to figure out, or all the things about the game that we manufacture in drills to make them see it. How are we going to get them better at figuring that out when it's not so easy to find? And that was a big piece of what we talked about in our off-season meetings with Coach Moore and myself before we hired these guys. And that's what we're starting to talk about now. How are we going to get better at reading and reacting everywhere on the field, between the face-off
Right.
game, in between the boxes, and the clearing game and the riding game. Obviously, big offensively and big defensively. How are we going to read and react better? Because the teams that read and react the best and communicate the best are usually the teams that have good success, have strong success. So we're just trying to go that way. And our meetings are. I don't want them to be me just talking the whole time.
Right.
Right.
I want feedback from them. So, and I think it's going to take these guys a little bit of time, but they've already started, with a little bit of chalkboard stuff. They've already started putting their 2 cents in. And recruiting wise, they've already done a great job of bringing, like, our second assistant has already brought a couple of kids down from the New England area, which is where he's from. And that's an area that we're
Ooh.
underrepresented. We're
Yeah.
very underrepresented from the New England area. So from Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, we're not, upstate New York, we're not very
Right.
well represented on our roster. So, and he's up to the task to try and figure out how we can
Open up new doors
how we
nationally.
can get into
and-
that market a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Nice.
sure.
Well, that brings up like a good point. Like when you're bringing in someone new, what are your expectations for these guys? Like obviously we have fall ball, getting ready for season and things like that, but like we all know that during the summer we're recruiting heavy. You're building your book, you're building your portal of your contact guys. And then there's just the pecking order of division and levels within the division, and then to the next and to the next to next, and guys fall, or um, maybe that player that you love isn't taken, and you got to keep actively recruiting. And now, when you have new guys on staff, are you kind of taking a little bit of what they look for in a guy, or are you trying to tell them like what a Wingate guy is, what you want personally, or are you kind of hearing all aspects like, yeah, hey, you think this guy's good? Let's look him over on the TV and evaluate it ourselves. Like, are you kind of coaching them as well on the recruiting side, or are you letting them be a little bit more free, I guess?
Well, for our second assistant, he was just recruiting for a Division III school up in New England, so he's already been out there. So he's already got a decent eye, and he already understands the process. For the GA who just graduated, we're gonna teach him exactly what we're looking for, and you know how it goes with really young coaches. They're gonna come back checking off the kid that's going to Hopkins. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
Because who wouldn't?
Yeah,
Um,
right. That kid
yeah,
was awesome. Oh, was
yeah,
he?
yeah.
If he-
Yeah, he's
So we're
a
we're
top
we're
20
gonna teach
midfielder.
him. Yeah, we're gonna teach him what we're looking for, and we're also gonna teach him how our timing works compared to Division I. You know,
Right,
I found myself the other day watching a Sweet Lex 2028 team at Summer Showdown. I'm like, I couldn't believe the talent, and I'm like,
right,
wow. And I'm writing in the book, and then I found myself saying to myself, what am I doing? The 5 guys I just wrote are gonna get 7 calls on September 1st or September
right.
10th, whatever the Division I day is this year. So
Ninth.
it's not our time.
Right,
Like we have to make sure we understand that about it. Yeah, we would love to steal Division I guys, but before the Division I contact starts, that's not going to happen.
right,
They're
right,
gonna the guys they may talk to us, but they're gonna wait for that time, and then after that, that's when we come in and we say, all right, it's time for us to start making serious contact with people.
correct.
Um,
This is who
and
we are, and start.
this is who we are. This is what you can have here. This is what we are academically. This is what we are socially. This is what we are athletically. You know, see our campus, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think right now with this crew, Coach Moore does a really good job. Um, Coach Quinlan, Ryan Quinlan, who's our new second assistant, he's already brought 2 kids to campus that we like, and he's got another
Great.
one coming next week, and he just showed up. Like he
Yeah.
passed his recruiting test 2 weeks ago, but he still wasn't on campus yet because he was finishing up his responsibilities and he had a pre-planned vacation. So he got some kids, emailed them, got them to come down. And then our GA, he hasn't been on the road yet because he's going to be taking his recruiting module in the next week or so. So we're just having him in the office doing stuff. So he'll go out on the road for the first time in the fall. So we'll probably send him on the road with somebody and we'll sit him down. That's what we
That's
did
what I
with
was gonna. That's what
that's
I
what
was
we
gonna
did with our
ask
grad
you.
assists in the past. Yeah. Send
Right.
them on the
Like,
road with somebody.
do you like to go personally, or do you like you'll pass them off to, not pass them off as in a bad way, but like you trust Coach Moore and they'll head to a fall recruiting thing and he can kind of give them the in and out, or is it more you want to be hands on and go to something local, show them exactly what you want for Wingate?
No, I let Coach Moore run with that. So as the first assistant, he's kind of the recruiting coordinator.
Yep.
So I'm going to let him run with that. And when I say this, I mean this wholeheartedly. This recruiting is a young man's game, so they're always going to be better at it. The young guys. Yeah, we all know what great players are, but I found my limit these days is probably 4 hours on a chair. If I get to 7 or 8 hours, I don't know what I'm looking at anymore. You know, I'm there. I'm
it
there.
does. The
I'm
eyes
there
start
physically.
crossing.
I'm
Yeah.
there physically, but
I know
and I'll do it.
exactly what you mean.
But I'm at my age, I got to work as the closer. I got to be back doing the majority of the visits. I'll still do my 3 weeks on the road, but I need to be the guy that's there for all the kids they're meeting. They have to
Right.
get visits set, and I'm the closer. I'm good with the parents. I'm the guy because I'm an old guy, so talk to parents.
You're the pretty face.
Yeah, I'm the pretty. Yeah, that's definitely not it.
Do
But no,
you
I do
think
trust Coach Moore to do that. Yeah.
that's in another like follow up to that? Like, do you think that, well, is there value? Which I'm sure the answer is yes, but like now thinking about recruiting and having visits, these guys are not from the school or from the area or whatever it may be. Do you have to give these guys a campus tour and everything as if they're a recruit, or like how do you teach your assistants to promote your institution?
Oh yeah, they're both going on a campus tour next week. They're going with the tour ambassador, and
Okay.
Love that.
we're a little bit different though because our ambassador program is so good, so good.
Okay.
We go up, we make the visits prior to the tour, and we spend about 20 minutes with them talking. When they start their presentation and admissions and go on their tour, we do not get in the way. And to be honest with you, our admissions department loves us for it.
Okay.
And then we come back up. We're there when they get back. We scoop them up, and we go down to our side of campus, and we do our part. You know,
Right.
we really, when you talk about a university, everybody's a cog in the wheel, and we understand our part, and
Right.
we understand their part, and they're very good at their part, and
Let them be good at it.
let them be good at it.
Right,
Right.
right.
And everybody we have that comes out of the tour, they're always like, wow, she was amazing. He was amazing. It was fantastic. And they do such a good job. We may do a disservice to it because what we may start to do is talk about lacrosse more when we're not supposed to be talking about lacrosse more at that point of the day. That
Right.
should be, this is campus. This is
The
what
academics,
happens
the
on campus.
support.
Yes, this is what goes on. So let them do that. Then we come down, we do our part. And it's been great. It's been a great collaboration. And it's funny, the other day, another coach from a team was there and with me at the same time. And then they started walking out on a tour, and he looks at me, he goes, "You're not going on a tour?" I go, "No, we don't go on the tours with them. We don't want to get in the way." And a person from admissions, I hear her from her office. She's like, "And we appreciate that."
Well, it also like takes some of the questions after the fact, because the student athlete and their parent can go through, ask all the questions that they really want to hear. You know what I mean? And academics, all the
Type of
statistics, and
class. Yeah.
where the classes are, this, that, and the other thing. If they just came down and did like, the you guys did the tour, and like you said, it inevitably will veer off into lacrosse, and they might forget a question. Then they have to go back to admissions and track someone down to ask that question. And doing it that way, like you said, the admissions lady, and we appreciate that. It definitely lets them do their thing, and then you guys should step up and do your thing. I think that's a very
So
positive way.
you guys split it in two, and then will you guys do primarily just athletics, or do they show a little bit of the athletics facilities and things like that in their admissions tour?
No, they concentrate on just the campus and the student center and that stuff and everything like that. And then we go to the athletic part.
Okay.
And we do
good.
our whole part there. We do varsity weight room, locker room,
Right.
fields, everything.
See,
So
I like that. I like that little bit of a split.
yeah,
And because
So-
I really like to have eval and see, like, is he holding the door for mom and dad? Like, I look at random things like that,
yeah,
the
I get
character
that.
things.
Yeah, I get that. Too.
Maybe it's because
There's doors down in the athletic department.
Yeah, for sure. No, we could still see that kind of stuff. I will say this: when I was younger, again, you felt like you needed to do everything, and then as you get older, you realize there are experts in certain areas, and we should let them do their
Right.
part. You
Right.
guys remember when you were there, who was the strength coach? They made me do it. I didn't know what I was
Right.
doing. I just
Right.
made, I went online and tried to research it. Now we got a
Wait,
strength coach.
that's why we threw up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why you threw up because I was doing it wrong. So, now it's great. I go to workouts. I go to all conditioning things we do, but I love
Right.
just being there to be a part of it while I watch the expert do it.
Right.
The
Totally.
person who was
makes sense.
trained, the person who went to school for it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
let them do it.
Oh, I'd love
So
to be on the
I
fly on the
think that's
wall
a
for
big
these
piece.
kids and just see what they get to go through. It's probably so different.
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna
know.
lie, guys. It's very different.
P90X.
You can try to
and the-
sugarcoat it. I mean,
No one's pushing.
had
No one's
light-
pushing.
for
the
those who
car.
don't know, we had light gray T-shirts that were jet black by the end of a workout. Right? They were you had the V, the half moon from all the sweat. And then I need to know. We're getting a little off topic. Do you make the guys wear sweats still?
Absolutely.
You know, yeah, I get it.
For preseason, absolutely.
How long? Because it gets warm down there.
So
and you don't have to give up the secret sauce. I don't want to.
I will say this: my first season, we were on the turf, and we had a typical an atypical. It was about 82 degrees on like February 10th, and the trainer came up to me and she said, "You know, I don't know about this. You know, this is because it's 82.
Hey, we're
it's
getting to that real area.
It's 88 on the turf." She's like, I think you need to drop one of them." I'm like, "All right, we'll drop the pants."
Yeah, keep the hoodies on.
Going. I like it.
But we still try to do it up until first game, and then after that, it's the seniors' choice on what they want to do. But they all have to be in the same.
All the same. Nope, I love that.
Down to the socks.
And we still do grays and blues. Like you guys will be happy to know that we still do grays and blues.
Well, the colors still fit, which is great.
You still do them
pretty well.
We're still waiting on a T-shirt.
It's true.
What?
I'm just saying, you still do the grays and blues. I'm still waiting for a gray and blue. And that's not a knock at my institution or anything like that. I'll proudly wear my institution's things. But I'm just saying.
I mean, we got some space here in the studio. We can
hang something up on the
wall,
right,
or Wingate Bulldog or something. Just throwing it out there.
I feel what you're putting down here.
Yeah, picking it up. All right.
Well, now it's going to be on the internet. It's going to live forever.
We're going to work on that. We're going to work on it.
Just saying.
We're going to work on that.